Well, this is something that I just saw in the news as of late. Um, it's been a crazy year or two for Activision Blizzard, with them being acquired by Microsoft and basically the allegations that the company faced, dealing with workplace issues concerning sexual harassment and all that stuff. And even though, you know, we got Overwatch 2 this past year and we got Diablo 4 this year. Both games are actually really, successful, did great numbers in terms of revenue. It seems like Activision Blizzard, for the most part, things have just been very turbulent, and it seemed like whenever they make the news, if it has nothing to do with any of their video games, it's always something controversial. And this is actually one of those things. We just realized that Activision Blizzard has laid off some of their esports staff, and I think it was like 50 people or 50 employees basically got laid off. And it's something that kind of just came out of nowhere. And um, I'm not exactly sure if they got any type of notice or anything, before they were just, let go, or whether um, there were any signs that the company was gonna just cut jobs and all that stuff. But a lot of people are wondering what exactly was the reason as to why this actually happened, because you look at Diablo 4. Diablo 4 has done big numbers in terms of revenue. I think it earned at least 666 million in terms of revenue. And I think I read that like a couple of weeks ago or a month ago. And you look at Overwatch 2, which came out, I believe it came out this past year. Um, Overwatch 2, despite the fact that it had a rough launch, it actually did really well as in terms of, I guess, appealing to casuals, and in terms of the amount of people who actually play the game. Because I believe Activision Blizzard had announced like early in the year that the game managed to generate more than 100 million in net bookings within its first 3 months, and that in its first month it had over 37 million players. So obviously, despite all the controversy that Activision Blizzard has been involved in, it seems like their biggest games have actually been really successful. But at the same time, there could have been many reasons why Activision Blizzard decided to lay off some of their esports staff. Maybe they thought it was a bit excessive, and maybe they just want to, cut back on cost and scale back on some things that they feel like they don't need. Maybe the new deal with Microsoft has something to do with it. Um, Maybe it has something to do with the fact that they lost like $35 million early in the year, I believe, because they, I guess they had basically been accused of, sexual assault and mistreatment of women and stuff like that. And pretty much, I think that ended up being the thing that forced them to pay 35 million to, I guess, deal with like the claims that was like being made against them. And they ended up having to pay the Securities and Exchange Commission like 35 million to just settle things. And I also believe that at some point the Justice Department had filed a civil antitrust lawsuit against Activision Blizzard as well. So a lot of bad stuff has been coming out about Activision Blizzard that's not related to Diablo 4 or Overwatch 2. And maybe like the stuff that I just mentioned is like those are all things that have indirectly affected the corporation's decision to cut back on esports staff. And I mean, I'm not sure exactly why they're doing it. I'm just kind of speculating as to maybe why this has happened. Maybe these are all this is like a step being taken to kind of reform the overall workplace in general, and to prevent, or just to like present a more um, professional, work friendly environment. Um, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what the decision was behind these layoffs. But I think it's just the esports staff. I don't know if there's going to be more layoffs in the future or anything like that. But we're more than halfway through the year right now, and despite all the things that have come out about Activision Blizzard thus far, I have a feeling that there's going to be more unsettling and more disturbing allegations, or probably like disturbing things coming out about the company, its workplace culture, and probably more controversy in general. But it seems like Activision Blizzard, they have been making headlines and gaming news, not necessarily for all the right reasons, but it seems like despite everything that the corporation has basically dealt with and been accused of and all this stuff, it seems like they're pressing forward and they're doing everything they can to put out the best possible video games that they can.